Summer in full swing. Many of us will be taking a vacation, and joining us this morning is online security expert David Papp. We'll look at some of the apps to use when you're traveling. Good morning, David.
Morning, Mike.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah, it has.
Oh, were you on vacation too?
I actually was.
All right. Well, then you know exactly what kind of apps are very popular while traveling.
Yeah. Well, there's the entire Google suite, for instance. We've got Google Maps, Google Flights, Google Trips, Google Translate. They've actually well-rounded a lot of stuff to help people with travel, actually.
Is there any way to prepare for those?
So what I do is I'll research an area if I'm going to, say, rent a car, and I'm going to use Google Maps to save where I'm going to be going, because it actually gives you great directions, whether you're walking, bicycling, taking the metro, whatever it is, it will tell you how to get there and how long it will take. So it's great when you're in a location you're not familiar with or in another country. It'll even tell you what time the train comes at and what stop and what lines to cross over on. Like, it's amazing.
It is. That kind of stuff is just so valuable. If you've done any traveling, you're kind of just hanging out there asking a lot of questions and things.
Yeah, you feel like
it's pretty accurate. This stuff's pretty accurate.
Very accurate.
Yeah. What about some other things to think of, other apps?
Well, one thing that you find is you're in another country, you don't speak the local language. Uber and Lyft have been very great to use because there's actually minimal communication required. You don't have to exchange money. They know exactly where to pick you up and where to drop you off because of the app. So it's actually very safe and very affordable.
Well, we're talking about safety and security and that type of thing. What do you need to think about with respect to apps and security when you're traveling?
Well, when you're traveling for security, you should make sure that you're careful with how you travel for your roaming charges, right? You want to make sure that, are you connecting on safe local Wi-Fi, or are you using a VPN? We've covered that in the past before. And then, do you have everything that you need on hand? Like, do you know where you're going? Do you know how to get there? Do you have Google Translate, which actually is really cool when you want to talk to somebody in another language, example. Like, are you prepared before you arrive so you're not fumbling, looking at your phone and not actually watching where you're walking, and that kind of stuff.
So does that translation app work just the way you think it would? Like, you would say, where's the bathroom in Italian? And it'll actually tell you that?
It actually will, yes. And it actually can record somebody else talking and tell you what they said.
Oh, so somebody comes up to you and starts talking, you just go, hang on a sec. You listen to it and you go, oh, okay. And it tells you how to respond in the same language.
I mean, it's not 100%, but it's getting there. It's pretty amazing.
You got to be careful, though, because you could miss a word or two and it could have a completely different
context.
Different context whatsoever. Well, you talk about roaming charges and that type of thing and communication, and I know there's all kinds of different ways of doing it. I know people get different SIM cards, and I know my son was recently doing some traveling, and we just used WhatsApp. And an app like WhatsApp works really well for communicating and sending pictures and that kind of thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're right. You can do video chats, voice calls, and the idea behind WhatsApp is that it only uses data. It will never accidentally use a cell phone or a text message or whatever that you'll get charged for. So I think it's a great way to do it securely. You can also have group chats in it. Great app. How
does it work, though, when you talk about the SIM card, like going that route, like buying a SIM card?
I've done that many times.
How does that work?
So a lot of other countries, when you go to, you can actually buy a traveler's or a visitor SIM card for very inexpensive with a great data plan. And what you do is you have to make sure your phone is unlocked before you go on your trip.
So how do you do that?
Well, CRTC, as of last year, forced all the telecoms in Canada to unlock all phones for free. So if your phone was purchased before December of last year, you have to call your carrier, whoever it is, Bell, Telus, Rogers, and say you'd like to unlock your phone. And then there's a procedure that you go through. It's not a big deal. And then what that means is it's no longer tied to that carrier now. So now you can take your SIM card out, put in a SIM card of another phone company, and it will recognize it. So your phone number doesn't work when you're in that country, right? Because it's tied to the SIM card. So if people are texting you, Mike, on your cell number, it's not going to work. But if they're using WhatsApp or all these other things, it'll work great because it's working with, all you need is a data connection.
And a couple of years ago, you had to find a guy to do that for you. Yeah. It would have cost you like $50, $60 or something.
50 bucks.
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
It's free. It's free now.
All right. Thanks, David. Great, valuable stuff. You can follow David on his Twitter or check out his blog. His blog is davidpapp.com, and his Twitter handle is @DavidPapp.